Hi, and welcome to another episode of It's Right, It's Right. And today's episode is going to be a very deep one. It is one that I'm going to ask you really to open deeply. It is, it is not only a curious one, and as I always say, open because when you're open, even when you're listening, your spirit, universe, light, they all have the opportunity to give you more information if you're open for that. So today's episode is titled Past Lives Karmic Connections, or Karma and Past Life Connections. I stay loose with my titles. And so what we're going to talk about is going to be a little on the deeper side. And I'm going to have to ask you to open your heart, even if you're not on board with karma and past lives. You did come here and you are listening, so just open with your curious heart. Take nothing that doesn't resonate with you, but again, stay open to what does, because I can guarantee you that there are aspects of conversation that I'm going to get through today that is going to speak to you, or maybe not today, but next week. So stay open and really take what you need, is how I would say. So we're going to talk about the many choices that we as spirits offer ourselves, or are very purposely chosen prior to incarnation. And then we're going to talk about, why would I uncover a past life or karma? Like, why would I do that? And then the final piece is going to be how you can find healing in your journey, even without pinpointing directness, direct past lives, because a past life is sometimes very hard to kind of put in a human understanding, with the structure around that. So just stay open. There's no have tos. And so when we talk about incarnation, and I do have episodes that I did talk about, so if you want to refresh or go back, there's the 3 episodes and the many, many, many decisions that we make prior to incarnating. I need to remind you about your karma, though. My karma, everyone's karma, everyone has it. I metaphorically place it as a coat, and I say that because when we leave this lifetime, we are a collection of everything that we did in this lifetime. Right here, right now, we are a collection of all our choices, all our past lives and challenges, right here, right now, at this very moment in time. But when our life on this earth ceases for this one lifetime, all the things that we did well and didn't do well remain on this earth's plane. I call that the trueness of karma. Karma is what is left. Certainly, the things that I did well, I don't have to maintenance too much. They are just good things. But the karma that I didn't do so well, that is something that I will have to maintenance. And that coat that's left on the earth's plane, when I move beautifully to the side and I live eternally in peace and light. Should I choose to incarnate again, and it is my choice, that I need to put that coat back on. So if I'm going to put that coat back on, and the things that I didn't do so well, I can't erase. If I was an unkind person and very selfish, I can't say, okay, I'm coming in with a clean slate. I'm going to be just a really kind person. No, you have to earn that. You have to earn that with your experiences on this earth's plane. So you're coming in with that selfishness. So you have to make decisions on how you want to come into this lifetime, what your challenges are in response to the things that you know and the things you don't know. And the things I say that you know are the karma coat. I know what I'm experiencing. I know those pieces. I know a soul's journey. I know what I have learned in prior lifetimes. I am learning that. So for instance, I'm going to start with an example to kind of show it a little bit deeper. So, as I mentioned, we're a collection of all our lifetimes, but they're not always concurrently. And that's the piece I want to just thread in very lightly today, because we're talking about past lives. So, past lives could be concurrent, which means right after each other, and they can be centuries, thousands of years difference. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit too when I talk about my share today. And in those pieces, I'm going to talk about a few different shares, and they span hundreds, and in my case, thousands of years. And so they do come purposefully. And so the example I'm going to use today is you had a terribly abusive parent, maybe a father in a prior lifetime that was very devastating for you in that lifetime. It was one of karmic residue. It was one of deep pain, whatever that piece is. So you might choose, and it is your spirit's choice before incarnating. Do I want to because we do pick our parents, our biological parents. Do I want to be born into a family of a man that is has the same kind of tendencies? Or do I want to do I need a lifetime of refresh? Do I need a lifetime of having a good, loving father, or maybe a father that's not abusive? Whatever that is, it is my choice, because maybe I'm not ready for that. Because remember, our goal, remember your heart, our goal in a lifetime, in our soul's journey, is to perfect for our Lord God, for our divine source, and to learn the lessons that we've come to learn, and that being the karmic aspect. So if I was terribly and um, deeply injured by an abusive father, is my spirit ready for another abusive father right now? I know that that karmic code is going to make it very difficult. Maybe I am ready. Maybe I need a lifetime of ease in between. Maybe I was a male in that lifetime having a terribly abusive father. Maybe I want to be a female in this time. Maybe I want to try that aspect. Maybe I want to try a different religion. Maybe the religion and those rules are what made that abusiveness happen. So when I say incarnating and decisions, I really mean that we're not here. We don't plop ourselves here. We come here with deep intentions of light. We want to work through it. We want to work in an efficient and an effective lifetime. We want to perfect our souls. We don't want to have a do-over. That means I didn't make any gains, or even worse than that. We want to move forward. So we set ourselves up hoping that we will find that, knowing that our challenges don't disappear. They are coming. And again, our theme that we come in is a huge part of our journey, because when we're on the other side making all these decisions, and in this case, choosing a father, maybe it's a father, that abusive father was a father that there was no soul connection to in a prior lifetime, but maybe this time the soul's connection will be one that will help you in this, to erase or help heal some of the pain that you had in that lifetime. But our themes are a huge part of our journey, and so those are the things I already know that I will have when I become flesh and blood. When I'm on the other side making these purposeful decisions, I'm not in flesh and blood. Sometimes my plans become very lofty, and I've seen that in readings too, where it gets sent where you had a lot you wanted to attain in this lifetime, some that you chose, and again, we come with the contingency that we are also going to have to dodge and move with others' choices and how that affects me. But so when I choose that journey and I say, I am ready to face the difficult father, and I am ready to heal that lifetime, that's how the past lives and karmicness comes together. And that is what I want to talk about in today's episode, and how you can maybe open to how that appeals to you as well, and how it speaks to you and gives you answers that maybe you hadn't put together. And I always say, lighted truth, if we're ready to open to it, and that's not with any pushes or have tos, but when we are open to those truths, they are empowering, and they do support us in this lifetime. They give us understanding of why we are how we are in humanness, our flesh and blood. And so when we're making those decisions of incarnations, they are not they are very purposeful, and I use that adverb very deeply. We choose that because we want to work on the lessons and the karma slash lessons. And our ultimate goal is to progress our Lord's, progress our soul, and find gratitude and peace. That is the cleanse of the karmic residue that will be erased. And sometimes it takes many lifetimes to erase karma. Sometimes karma is a smaller aspect, and again, we're going to kind of touch on a lot of different aspects. I'm going to try and give you as many examples as I can, just so you can feel what maybe your karmic lessons were in this lifetime, and how maybe a past life contributed to it, or how you are maybe working on a parallel life to help. You are now ready for that abusive father parallel, and in working that karma. So again, be good to yourself, be loving to yourself, and then let's move into, why would I uncover that? Why would I want to uncover that? And I always say, you don't have to. You don't have to. If it's not comfortable for you, if it's not a place that speaks to you, then leave it there. Leave it there. But I also say that truth and acknowledgement can be cleansing. So I always say, listen to your heart. And your heart is that lighted realm, that your heart is where all your truths are held. And trust what comes through in your heart, maybe through a reading. I know in my readings, when a past life comes through, it's generally a parallel to give you, and it's not always, I say, concurrent. So it's not always the one that you just lived. It is just a lifetime that they want to bring in to show you what you're working on for this lifetime. And that is very much the shares that I'm going to talk about today, is that how that lifetime and uncovering that helps you to move in this journey, to find that comfort, understanding, maybe just validation on your soul's journey. So let me just give you two quick examples to kind of work that in your thinking. So the client that I'm going to talk about is more of a theme. I'm going to address a theme, and a theme is something that you come in, and it is part of your whole lifetime. It is something that you come in knowing. Excuse me. So this woman came in, and she came in and she talked about at age 40. She married a childless man, and it was a man that was divorced from another marriage, but did not have children. She did not have children. This was her first marriage. This was his second marriage. And they came and they married when she was approximately like 40. But she chose not to have a child. She always knew in her heart, maybe couldn't explain it, but she is not to have a child. She said that in the reading. I'm not to have a child. Never never leaned into why in a conscious life, right? Because our heart knows all our answers. But in a consciousness, never worked to find out why, and she just left it there. But she never regretted it. She never regretted not having children. She always knew that was just the way it was going to be. And I'm using those human words to give understanding of our heart knowing that answer. But it was interesting because she talked about always revering parents, and keeping them at a very, very high standard, and almost passionately in that regard. And when I say that word passionately, I don't mean that in a truly lighted sense. Little judgment. They should not do that, or that child deserves better. That's the kind of passion I'm talking about. The right and wrongs, and what a child deserves. And it's all about the child. It's not about the parent. I'm very passionately. And I say too, when you feel so passionate about something in your entire life, or that's kind of a lean into, there might be something deeper. There might be some karma that revolves around that, or maybe a past life that kind of works in that. You don't ever have to move towards it, but if you choose to, sometimes it can be illuminating. So she moved to me, spirit moved those messages, never having a child, and those certain evidential pieces. And the reading spoke, and I'm just going to summarize it, that she lost a daughter in a prior lifetime, and it was devastating for her, one that she never truly recovered from in a lifetime. And just as I spoke a little earlier about sometimes we need lifetime or lifetimes to kind of find ease and comfort until we're ready to move towards that big karmic aspect. And I'll speak about that in a share about me personally as well. And so that loss resonated, and it placed her in a dark place for that lifetime. And she, in her spirit, when she chose to incarnate again, chose I call it the hard line, not to have children. That was not part of this path. She was not to have children. That possibly might be the reason why she didn't marry for the first time till she was age 40, right? And that being the higher age maybe to have a child, or maybe decide I don't want a child. Whatever that is, maybe that was part of her manifesting her journey to ensure that she would not move into having or thinking about having a child. And certainly the man that she chose was obviously okay with that, right? If he wanted a child, then that wouldn't have been maybe something that would have moved to a marriage. So not having a child was part of her journey. It was part of her theme. She was not to have a child. And the reason why is because her spirit said, I don't think I'm ready for a child. Number one, that past lifetime, again, the parallel lifetime that is being brought into it, um, I can't, I don't know if I could handle having a child and not falling back into that karmic pit that she was in a prior lifetime. That maybe being that parent that was would be would give them so much anxiety because they couldn't do anything. She was suffocating and wouldn't allow them to move, and would hold back a child as well too. Right? So in all those pieces, it was a lighted decision. And it was a lighted decision not to have a child in this lifetime, to just kind of move, maybe observe, heal, whatever that was. She didn't want to have that negative impact, and her flesh and blood would have possibly brought back when she put that karmic coat back in. So that is an example of a theme of that not having children, and how that past life that uncovers that. And so when I brought that to her, when that was channeled, that spoke to her heart. That spoke to her heart, and she truly came to tears. And I always say tears are diamonds, especially when you're opening your heart. They are truth and or healing. So embrace them. They are your body is telling you something. So listen there. And so that was a lighted reminder of what she chose in this lifetime. And again, she never regretted not having children. And that's a beautiful validation in our humans to say, I I don't regret it. I don't feel as though I was ever supposed to have children. And maybe that's where you stay. You don't need to go to a medium, or move into a meditation and ask for that, or do a past life regression, whatever that is. That's beautiful. And I always say, don't feel like you have to uncover that. But if you choose to uncover that, that it can be empowering. And if you're choosing it, then you're ready for that knowledge. That knowledge is part of the healing process, possibly. It's part of empowerment, or moving forward, or giving ease to yourself. All those reasons of why you may want to uncover a past life, or just recognize karma. Just recognize karma. I don't have children in this case, but I revere them. There must be something tied to there. There is something there. And again, listen to your heart. And so I will now talk about my past life, in my karma. So many years ago, I wanted to validate some pieces, because age 7, I saw spirits, and I always remember, I never spoke and never told anybody these pieces because truly, I know this sounds a little crazy, but I thought everyone saw spirits. I thought that was just a normalcy. And so it was always faces, it was always faces. And I had a knowledge that I would die at age 30 and I would be stabbed. And it brought such fear to me. Um, and I just knew it. I don't know how else to explain it, but I just knew that that was going to be, I felt as though so strongly it was prophetic for me. It was prophetic. I didn't know those words, but I just knew that I would die by the age of 30 by stab wound. And I didn't understand that, but I just knew it as my truth. So, skip forward many, many decades, and again, being a clairvoyant, I see in my mind's eye, I see pictures, and I also see kind of like a video, kind of like a dream state, but it kind of plays itself out. So one time, it was many years ago, I asked for a vision for a past life that was to speak to me. And again, when you ask for a past life, if you choose that in whatever fashion, the past life that gets sent to you is one that makes sense to you in this lifetime, in whatever way. Maybe it's validation. Maybe I always knew I had a tie to Egypt. And there it is. There it is. I know I had a lifetime in Egypt. I've always been drawn to Egypt, which actually is a very true aspect of me as well. Um, and so I'm here now again to talk about what that stabbing was, because that is an important part. So when I asked about why, give me a past lifetime that will speak to me, I was told that my first lifetime as a medium, and again, that is, I've been a medium for four lifetimes in my existence on this earth's plane, and that's a very, very small amount of time. And so, but when I'm not a medium, I am highly gifted in my intuitiveness, but a medium is a little different. And if you've listened to episodes, you'll know the difference. A medium is just a vast communication across all of the universe, not just singularly, which we can use with our intuitiveness. So my first lifetime as a medium was shown to me as a picture, and I was approximately 30 years old. So again, you know where I'm going with this. And I saw my garb. I saw my again, I'm not really good with history, but I can see dress. And I know it was at least 1,000 or so years ago. At least. It was my first opportunity being gifted as a medium, and I was a male, and I had a beard, and I was brought. I had mediumship abilities, which in that what was given to me in thoughts in that time frame was, and I had the sandals, I had the white the white kind of shepherd's kind of clothing. So I know it was thousands of years ago or in that realm, and I was gifted. And so in my community, I would, in some way or some form, give people I would give them forward motion or understanding and proof of what would be happening in the future, or evidence of what has happened. And so I was revered or opened, and I was brought into a cave with another man, and I was seeing that as a picture, and I was given in thoughts that this man felt as though if he could end my life, he would regain that power. It would then be transferred to him. So he used that knife and ended my lifetime. And so that being the first lifetime as a medium, and again, seeing and hearing those the clothing I wore, we all know that that was many, many, many generations, hundreds and thousands of years ago. And still at age 7 and 8, I felt that past life and that karma, because I was born a medium. I did choose to be a medium. I had 2 lifetimes in between of being a medium. But again, I was coming back in a lifetime as a medium. So I was I was reliving that karma. I was reliving that aspect. And as I grew, I dismissed that. Obviously, I went past 30 by far, but I moved past that. But it made sense in my spiritualness why that came to me when I asked for a past lifetime in evidence of a past lifetime, and that was the one that was given to me because I could tie that to my childhood. I could tie that to my experience that I had as a child, in being so open to spirit. So again, that is the past life and the karmic piece. And again, this is such a huge topic. It is like almost never ending. But I'm trying to give just a few examples so you can kind of adapt or kind of understand deeper how our past lives and the karma are very connected, even in this lifetime that we walk in this lifetime. So then I say, how can you find healing and peace in this journey, with or without pinpointing a past lifetime? You don't have to do as I did. I asked for that. The client came in spirit, offered that to her to give her validation. So sometimes we are moved to find that information, and sometimes it's okay to just um, open to there must be something more. There must be something more. There must be something more. So the energetic imprints of karma can offer validation in this journey, just as it did with mine. And I'm going to show that to you in a share as well. Because I say understanding is knowledge, it's power, and it's truth. You don't need a medium to validate. You don't need that. You just have to ask your heart or ask for signs or just touch a nugget of it. Maybe you don't have to uncover everything like I did um, about that first mediumship past life. It was given to me too, but I did ask for an experience. I did ask for something. Um, it may be given to you as direct as I showed in my example, or through a reading with intention. But always remember that what you ask for in light and love, the universe always gives you. It always gives you. You need to open and trust that, and cut what doesn't serve you. Cut what doesn't serve you, and always give yourself loving affirmations to yourself. So going back to that difficult father, maybe in this lifetime you just cannot form a bond with your father, but maybe that was purposeful. Maybe that was again this healing aspect. Maybe you were supposed to you decided to come to a father that was, I call it, indifferent. I always say three choices: comfort, challenge, and sometimes indifference. Maybe that indifference, not feeling a connection, was part of your choice. Your heart has all your answers. And those past lifetimes sometimes can help you clear that residue and give you definition, just as it did for my client and for me. But keep reminding your heart as often as you needed that it's not of this lifetime. If I could tell my 7-year-old self, Cheryl, you are not going to die at age 30. This is not prophetic. This is a prior lifetime. Let it go. Release it. It doesn't define you in this lifetime. It's just a karmic aspect that is coming back in because you need to work with it or address it, or it brings back those aspects that were difficult for you. And don't allow the fear to reside. Allow the fear to leave. All fear is ego. There's no truth in there. Truth is light. Doesn't always mean it's happy. It doesn't mean it's always pleasant. But truth, if you choose to move there in your open heart, will always serve you. And reap the rewards if you choose to accept that the karma clearing it can happen, even if you don't fully identify it. Maybe, like I said, you're just passionate about something. Maybe you're I had a person not too long ago that came in as a theme of a cause fighter. So the the issues in the Far East are very taxing for her. They're very difficult for her, and so um, Give yourself the ease to say, what I can't, what doesn't serve me, I must release. Or that there must be something karmic there because it is so strong and it's showing itself in so many different aspects of my life. And just give yourself that freedom and that love to accept it. Don't change it. Don't fight it. Just accept it. This is who I am. It must be for a reason. And I'm not going to judge myself on that. I'm going to accept what I feel so strongly. And feel and offer yourself this love and this lack of judgment. And above all, in order to find that peace in this most difficult journey, give yourself thanks for this beautiful life you have. Even if it doesn't feel beautiful, find just one single element that is beautiful. Even if it's just the sun is out today, that is gratitude. Sometimes that's just enough gratitude to just move you out of the ick, move you out of the darkness, just for a second. And I say, even for a second, it is worth it. And that will bring me into today's share. So today's share is again, it's a theme. And when I say it's a theme, it is something that is brought in as a totality of lifetime. And it is something that you bring in from a prior lifetime that you know you will react to in humanness or consciousness. And I will say too, to just preface it a little bit deeper too, is what happens often in our humanness, in our earthly emotions, is we move into that, why does this always happen to me? I don't deserve this. And I'm not saying that with judgment. Please feel my heart giving you that space. But I'm hoping that some of these some of the parts of this episode speak to you in a deeper fashion, and you find understanding of, I chose this. I chose this. Why would I choose this? I hear you. Why would I choose this? This health issue that is tearing my family apart, or and I don't disagree. But that's our humanness. Open to why, if you can, and if you can't, dismiss it. If you can't and you're not in a place, dismiss it. Um, don't add more pressure to yourself than what already exists. When you're ready, if you're ready, open to it. And if you're not, that's okay. That is part of your journey as well. In this case, that is how I'm going to preface it, because this is how this man presented himself when he came in for a reading. It was a late-aged man in a retirement age, and he came for a reading. He wasn't expecting a reading, but he felt as though he was at the end of end of so much. He had a big folder in his hand, and he put it on the table, and he said, I can't take it anymore. I need help. And I was a bit taken, because readings don't generally start that way. And he came in very desperate, very frustrated and angry, and all those aspects, which is sometimes very difficult to kind of move through a reading, because expectations sometimes get very high, and spirit has a hard time moving through the human expectation. So again, always remain open if you choose to move to a reading or medium that you feel compelled to see and to be open to. Back to this reading. He stated that his life was so good prior to what was held in this folder. He was successful. He was admired in the community, revered. Truly, everything he touched turned to gold. He was, and he was. I believe he was the youngest of a big family, and everything went his way. Everything was beautiful in his definition. And so I didn't read what was in the folder, for he told me the framework of what was in the folder. And it contained a litigation of sort that had sent his whole life upside down. And he had such deep resentment for that folder for the people that put that folder together, A, B, and C, an abundance of blame that they and all that was connected to that folder has brought him down, has made him suffer, and he has lost everything. And talked about his life falling apart, and again, just that downward spiral. But I felt an energy with that. And so I moved forward with expending my energy to offer that guidance, to see what Spirit wants to offer, always for light, love, and guidance, never for judgment and never for pointing fingers or have tos. So Spirit moved me into a past life. And so I moved into this past life, and I'm going to just streamline a little bit. There was many different aspects of that past life that spoke to him. And it was told to me that in that prior lifetime, he was a man of privilege. He was a man of privilege, had money and power, wanted for nothing. And then this man said, "But I wasn't a good person, was I?" And just as he said that, I heard that as well. We were together. His heart, either he sent that to me or Spirit sent it to me, but it was at the same exact moment. And that is where he found a sliver of truth. For his heart already knew the truth. I then moved to explain through the channel that it was his soul's mission in this lifetime to correct certain lessons from that past lifetime. That lifetime of privilege and power and wealth and wherever that was. And what he had chosen in this life was to correct the karma that he built in that prior lifetime. He was strong. He was confident. He had that good karmic peace, but he was not a good person. That was the karmic peace that he came in for lessons. But his spirit knew he was strong enough on the other lighted aspect in his connection to faith, in his connection to his cultural ties, that he could, and his spirit was hoping that he would overcome that. So what he chose in this lifetime was to flip it, to have it all and lose it all. And that was, and again, remember, our soul's journey is just to find an ounce, a sliver of gratitude amidst the challenge, amidst the humanness of what is right and wrong and what people have done to me. And I will say too, in spirit form too, sometimes that does happen. Their choices do affect us, but our spirit must be higher. Our spirit must say, yes, I need to move to a higher level. I can't control what that person did, but I can control my journey. And so when he came to that understanding, and again, there were other events and pieces that were brought forward, and he came to the understanding that he did orchestrate and manifest this experience for his soul's journey and growth. That is not to say he's done. Oh, good, check mark, I'm good, I'm feeling good, I got nothing here, I'm feeling great. No, 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 no. His journey was just to explain in light, love, and comfort, and the spirit world gave him what he needed. That understanding that this was his choice. It was not something that happened to him. It was his manifestation of taking away and giving him the lessons that he needed in this lifetime. And so again, I don't expect his life to become easy. He's had many, many years of feeling on top of the world in many different aspects, and a small amount of not. My lighted hope is that he finds his light and his understanding, and he moves with just an ounce more of ease, in knowing that his actions were not forced on him, but his spirit gave them to him. And at the time that the session ended, his heart opened and understood that, even just a light fashion. Again, my hope and my prayer, and I send him prayers that his ego and his humanness don't get the better of him, that he keeps leaning into a strong faith, leaning into a strong light, and making sense of that. And that is how our past lives and our karmic crashing plays in our lifetime, in this lifetime. Our past lives play a pivotal role in our decision to incarnate, shaping the karmic coat we will wear. This being a combination of armor, the things we did well, and our Achilles heel, the things we need lessons in. And as we navigate this challenging journey, our hearts recall all of that. But often, we are blinded by our human thoughts, and we avoid facing our spirit's karmic choices, placing blame on others and possibly hindering our spirit from learning the lessons that we chose in this lifetime. If we decide to seek out our truths, it's important to recognize the signs and guidance that respond to those intentions. We must look what we receive as fair from our human perspective, while nurturing ourselves with love and affirmations to stay strong and resilient in this journey when we're looking through our human eyes. Again, our spirit's heart has no bumps. It knows our journey from A to B. Remember, there is no race to learn. It is how we conclude a lifetime that shapes the karmic coat we will wear in the next. Keep reminding yourself, for love and ease, there are no rules, no judgment, only the understanding that the hum of the universe is always in harmony, guiding us to clear even the smallest fragment of our karmic imprint. If you move to judgment, frustration, or even rage for any of your actions on this journey, remind yourself deeply and through your heart, the light does not judge. Say it as often as you need. Scream it. Set that judgment free and feel the peace that arrives, even if it's only for 1 second. Love and light is always right. Blessings on your journey. Have a beautiful day.